Okay, we are trying to fix the audiovisual issues. I understand that last meeting, we could not hear on the recording, so hopefully that's better this time. Thanks for everyone coming out. Great turnout to a fairly quick agenda. First of all, Mr. Manager, we have any agenda adjustments?
Councilors,
Announcements, correspondence, awards, proclamation.
this meeting quick. So.
Input, who's in the queue and do we have anyone signed up?
As we did last time, call one and then the deck. Okay, Mark Berwick first, and then Mike next.
Again, we'd like everyone to be aware, kind of have a 5 minute, your 1 minute warning.
Avenue, Gold Hill. I want to start with some information on the Oregon Government Commission website. It's our ethical code of conduct. They have basically a code of conduct, which I am subject to as a member of being the vice chair of the Gold Hill Planning Commission. It states, as an elected, appointed, employed, or volunteer public official, I acknowledge that I am to compliance with Oregon government ethics law as set forth in ORS Chapter 244. In the conduct of my official duties as a public official, I will act ethically, and I, the public trust by safeguarding public money and resources, behave in an open, honest, and transparent manner. Conduct the public's business fairly and objectively. Disclose financial conflicts of interest. Do not use my public position to gain. Observe the limits of the receipt of gifts. Transparency. Not one word about the depth of this city's wastewater crisis has ever been posted on the website. It don't count. The majority of this council voted to build an exact duplicate of our existing failed 19 treatment plant. This treatment plant offers minimal ability to meeting any future nutrient removal requirement DEQ might impose on the city. You chose the most expensive option, $13.5 million. $1 million more than the 11% inflation adjusted cost estimate for the pipeline. Yes, that figure was easily calculated, even though the majority of this council refused to ask our engineer to evaluate. No plan disclosed for who's going to operate this plant or even the existing plant once you run RVSS out of Tech Spring. No plan has been disclosed for who's going to maintain the wastewater collection system moving forward. You've ignored the two engineers' ratings of either alternative 10, the SBR, or alternative 11, the MR, both which are higher levels of treatment than the 80 technology option you've chosen and are $1 to $2 million less expensive. You've ignored engineer Dan Scalis's comment at council meeting that the pipeline wasn't given due diligence. You've refused to consider the pipeline addition into RVSS, which will all of the above issues and are $1 million cheap. The Medford treatment will be installing nutrient removal, affording Gold Hill West the opportunity to have their wastewater treated at the level of treatment, improve the water quality in the Rogue River. Regionalization will stabilize Gold Hill sewer rate. This brings us back to the ethical code of conduct. Do not use my public position for personal. This decision is so flawed, people are asking. Who on council has a private, personal legitimate benefit? We're not ready to name names, but you're being watched. This decision will not stand until this council comes clean with transparency justifies and makes it known to every citizen in this town that in spite of every black mark against your choice, you are upholding the oath of office you were sworn to and Oregon government ethics law. And Carol Holm.
I just want to say, the more I look at the options, to me, that makes the most sense. Taking a problem. Like
I just wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you in their thing to do, because there is a new market in Washington State. They cleaned up from the floor to the ceiling. We have flowers, we have trees, we have drinks. When you walk in, several streets, it has just changed about. So I just wanted to recognize the effort that has been made, the myriad of things that we have to do in this community. It's very, very nice to see that someone is still focusing on the little things that if we do those along the way, they'll all add up. We'll get some of the other things.
I think
Sam Hector and Chuck Shad.
Yeah, I didn't know I was saying, okay, I didn't know I was speaking to you until, many events. A few years ago, one of us had a dream to build a dog park, Gold Hill, together as a council. Community had a lot of skin in the game, we were able to make it together. Great. We had a great garage sale Saturday. Garden Park, we were able to check it out. It's super, it's colorful. People, community, neat, cleaned out their basement, did a lot of stuff to us. Some people, when they're paying me, oh, yeah, they're paying me, that they keep checking. Now, that's never happened in the garage. So it was a huge success, and I want to tell you, we made 4 figures. Over 4, 5 would have been better, but we did 4. In any event, everybody pitched in, and I hope that the momentum. What is it?
There you go.
No one's listening.
And I think the momentum from our activity is going to go a long way bringing people into other can-do activities that that are good for the public and for the hill. And I think we do this twice a year in the fall. In the spring, people ask me where they could buy tables next year. Let them know about it. So we had a guy from the newspaper. I don't know how many of you that, but it really brought these out there. In any event, the skate park and the bark park and the paths down the river are a crown jewel of this area. That's why people come here. It's not for shopping, believe me. In any event, I was very distressed when a couple of people told me that they don't come to the dog park anymore. And they don't come because one person described it as a field full of weeds, debris, and foxtails surrounded by a fence. You know, I'm not an expert in
and planting gardens, but I just know that if you stop watering something long enough, it's not going to be green anymore. And a couple of months ago, a dog picked up a foxtail there, and it took us to the vet to get it out of his paw. You try to get an appointment at the, All Creatures. That ain't easy. I don't want to point fingers or accuse somebody for any fault here, but I just know that you're stewards of this magnificent crown jewel, and it's your job to make sure this is maintained. What was once a green, welcoming pasture is now that welcoming anymore. So just want to put that in your ear and see if we can get this thing back to where it used to be and bring people back to it. Thank you.
Chuck Shad and then Craig Smith.
So, yeah. About 6 inches.
Chuck Shad, 14 Roper Highway. Lived here about 22 years. He's still in the Redmond building across the street here. Anyway, I'm really involved in the community. I'm a retired captain paramedic from LA. And I was on the Rogue River Fire Report for 8.5 years. Helped set up their man, hired 2 chiefs, terminated 1. Got that going. Currently on the Gulfville Irrigation Board, I'm the head director there. And I also work as volunteer for ODOT on a dock highway. That's kind of why I'm here. Me and another guy named Bill, that's been on your Facebook. There's 2 old guys walk through your town picking up trash. We go right down the street, cover from the Golden Bridge to the Rogue River Bridge. We do the 40, 42 off ramps and on ramps. We do Blackwell Road from the beginning to end. We do Lampman Road from beginning to end. Our goal is to pick up light litter, cigarette packs, tissues, whatnot. It's turned into a nightmare. We're picking up, you name it, furniture. People come trucks, dump their entire truck out. We are using our vehicles, our time, and we have stations where we take stuff, ODOT then comes and picks it up, but it's turned into a nightmare. One of the problems I have is with the city park on Lampman Road. The weeds are 4 feet tall. There's trash galore. We clean that up once a week. That should have been cut at the beginning of spring. It's just been let go. We got homeless people in there sleeping overnight. We've got actually now where they make fires out of rock and they're burning there. If that thing ever catches on fire, you kiss this whole part of your town down. Finally, we do that, and like I said, we come through your town, and that's really not our goal, even though it's a state highway. We kind of consider it ours, but it's not really our responsibility. It's up to you guys here. Also called and complained. I take off graffiti, my own time, my own money. I use my own paint. I take it off down here under the bridge, several times under the railroad bridge down here at the center of town and everywhere else in town. I called, I came down here and complained about the graffiti on the bridge on the north end of town. And they said that they would, it's not our problem, it's the railroad. They would contact the railroad. That was 2 years ago. It's still there. So this is what you see when you come into your beautiful town. You see all this graffiti, which he tell you this, that he left there for 3 more feet. And so I would really like to see the council contact the railroad. It doesn't seem like it's that big a deal. Contact the railroad, get them to take that off. If you guys don't want to do it, it's not your problem. At least contact the railroad. Just past that railroad bridge, as you're leaving town on the left-hand side, there's people, let me just say this, there's homeless people that are legitimately homeless, they lost their job. There's people, there's street people, I worked the streets for 30 years. They want to live off the grid. They don't want help. They don't want anything to do with the establishment. And so they're living down there. So as we're picking up trash, we're going off the roadways, we're going down in there. There's encampments, there's people fishing down there, there's kids taking their clothes off, except their bathing suits and swimming barefoot. We're picking up meth needles. If one of these kids steps on these needles, get hepatitis, AIDS, whatever, we're picking it up. Today, we just cleaned up down there. We picked up 9 full bags of trash, and I called the sheriff's department, and they ran them out. I'm a little aggressive, maybe a little too hardcore. If they have, I'll take their tents, but I clean up what and I'll take the responsibility. I take it all. Unfortunately, the state of Oregon gives dog bones, sleeping bags, tents, food, and I go on and on and on. So when I take their tent, just go get another tent and they're back in. But we really need this has got a great town. You got 2 bridges, you got the railroad. It can be better in Jacksonville. But the city's got to allow that to happen. And you guys, I hate to say it, are the city. You're the city fathers and mothers. So anyway, so those are my 3 contentions: the park, the graffiti on the bridge, and the trash.
Adam, if we don't have Chuck's number, we'll get that.
Certainly, I'll talk to them now. Chris Hunt, and then Jason Spark.
Richmond, 996 4th Street. I just want to say, volunteers or something like that, and we're proud to help with that. And the person, honestly, think about house has a family come in, the community service, come fix up the property, and this is the fence. Even made that was a friend of mine. I tried to tell him that there's some people that but they can't walk very well, and I told him that the box emergency set. But he said that on himself to dig a couple steps down into the railroad. And I think that's what they're content with that anyway. Since then, we built the burn back up, took the steps out, and apologize for that. I didn't know how to get in touch with the railroad, but I've been glad maybe they could send that complaint. But really, that's been happening. I really don't know about the other Indian house, the property ownership. I think their son put a fence up, so didn't have to see what was going on. It's just a bunch of stuff. Kind of live. And since then, I've been told that the front yard fences are supposed to keep it high. And well, I guess I can't understand that without the rules, and we're taking that down. I'm trying to make as much progress on the property as I can. I always, work, and I put the waste management because we weren't making the dumps. So we take this or whatever and that. But if that used to be a problem, but recently been there. It's been quite a while. We will pass over to the new sewer line that's going through. Those people living there. Well, it cost me $12,000 to get the sewer hooked up. But the lady here at the time, afterwards, she got renewed, but he told us we got the sewer in order to do it. My dad passed away. My daughter went down. Over there. Anyway, I moved it back down here and tried to set it up. Like I said, the water wasn't hooked up. Paid 3 months of the bills. Bought water, bought water. Didn't have sewer. But bring it to the blue in there. It's just kind of a hard start. Some quite a bit there. And then when we started to homeless people, some kids couldn't see them doing this. That's how it was. As cheap as I can.
And Jason, last on the list? Okay. That completes the public forum.
Thank you. Appreciate everyone's input. Sometimes this is uncomfortable. Can't say the hard stuff, but we appreciate it. Sorry, my bad. Okay, we have 2 action items, 7.1, city manager recruitment process update and decision.
Okay. So as most of the community knows, city council and mayor have been on a recruitment process for the next city manager position. I think that started about 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, culminating in Zoom interviews last week with some community members and some other peers from other communities. And then just this weekend, in-person interviews with finalists, and had an executive session to discuss just prior to this meeting. Council did to discuss how they wanted to move forward in that process. So that's the status of where that process is. And I'll turn it back over to you.
So we have met several times. Yesterday we had live interviews, and those were in person yesterday. Prior, there were Zoom and lots of people going back and forth, background checks and telephone conversations with our search team, search group. And we made a decision not to move forward with a candidate at this time. I'll read our verbiage. We recommend to make a motion. The interim city manager to develop alternative recruitment options for council to consider and bring back at a future council meeting. Would like to make that motion?
Can we repeat all that, please?
Sure. In plain English?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we've had an extensive review process. Net, our timing was tough right after new city's recruitment process. Didn't get the turnout that we hoped. And frankly, you see that we got our water bills out late, and again, we have staffing issues. So it's been a tough time. We want to make sure that whomever comes in has a reasonable chance of success. And for all these bombs going off all around them, That's a very tough situation. We've got strategic issues that we've got to address. And when you're putting out fires constantly, it's tough to focus on long-term strategic issues. So, in plain English, we have decided to not move ahead with any of the candidates that we evaluated. And we'd like to reinstitute that in spring or later.
So what do we do about a city manager being on that? He gets to stick around?
We're very fortunate that our interim manager, who has 20 years under his belt in one municipality, knows the ins and outs, and particularly of interest to us, is very good with the financials, which again, with our lack of continuity, financial management has taken a beat. So we've asked Adam if he would please consider, and he's generously said that he will continue on in an interim process. We really need to get these things that place for a new candidate to come in and have a chance of succeeding. It's too much right now. We're down another person inside. So guess what? That puts our interim city manager inputting credit card charges this way. That shouldn't be his problem. We want him out there talking to people, generating grant options, putting grants together, working the system. Because as we all know, we've got capital expenditure issues that have been deferred. We're trying to get our hands around them. And we need a pro like Adam so that they can hand it off with a reasonable workload for the next person. So our process would be that, again, we met in executive session and sort of pounded out this position. And we'd like to formally move that we're going to do that. Does one of the council like to make a motion?
Motion. Motion to direct the city manager to develop alternate options for council to consider.
6
All right.
inches.
Let me do that again. Would make a motion to direct the interim city manager to develop alternative recruitment options for council to consider.
Moved and seconded, roll call.
Counselor,
Yes.
Counselor Palmer,
Yes.
Counselor Newstead,
Yes.
Counselor Beescheid,
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. So we will have more details further. Again, we're trying to smooth out our process. We're very fortunate to have our interim person continue on in his capacity and get us back on track.
Well, thank you.
You all and we appreciate the improvement in the ambiance of City Hall.
Thank
So,
you.
and that's only 2 people. It's they're doing, so we do appreciate it. Okay, action item 7.2. Replacement wastewater treatment facility update.
Update on this, as at your last meeting, council selected a treatment type for the new plant. On the heels of that, began working with our city engineer to start the process of looking for funding. There are a couple different ways to go. Some municipalities will attempt and do the pre-design work within the existing budget, and then for financing. In talking with Dan Scalise, we both pretty much decided that we would try to wrap up, at least preliminarily, try to wrap those two together and look at the Business Oregon Infrastructure Finance Authority opportunities for funding, including pre-design in that. So Dan is doing preliminary work to have that ready for one stop. Marta at Business Oregon is coordinating the one-stop meeting, which is a bunch of a series of agencies to start putting together the information needed to scour out and find grant and low interest loan opportunities. So that's the very first foray from the decision last council meeting. That's update. I can add any time in that she has as the DEQ liaison. Maybe a quick follow-up, specifically listed, but item the council from last meeting directed me to appeal. So I filed that appeal. No date schedule. I did have some really with DEQ staff, just so they understood what council's intent of that was. It's not to say that there's no issues. It's to, as we talked about at that meeting, explain where we are, describe what's going on, regain some communication with DEQ staff. And I think that's both myself and then also with Councilor Chide filling that liaison role. We're going to kind of square up the stuff. So probably in the future, we won't have a disjointed update on the topic. We'll get a little more coordinated on how we do that. But so that appeal will be a future update to provide as well. Just don't know yet when it'll go. It doesn't. I haven't. I got word back the appeal request. That's my understanding. There could be a mutual agreement and their workloads on figuring out that they a mutual thing. But there are some. We have the right to have in a certain period, but if they do it longer.
Thanksgiving, Christmas. Thank
you. And my goal is to have have the packet on the site and actually is on this list, but just have a little more meat on the bones and just you with the whole list of things that are going on. Get further along, I'll make sure embedded in the. So some highlights, a little bit of utility billing. Dee and I were scrambling. We did bills out late. Meters were read on time. We've had some challenges with reading software and with the main utility bill, and just with clerk position. So just as a reminder, there's no late fees because of the late issuance usage, the consumption from my assistant did not lag. So kind of a compounding issue for months. We've that there are some accounts where the meters weren't read, they were average. Summer that may or may not happen. So there's some true up issues. So we are working with customers to flag those accounts, go do rereads, and look at their annual consumption, see how it compares to the prior year, and then adjust payments kind of accordingly to smooth that out. Probably as a final over the next, I think, 2 billing cycles, I'm fairly confident all of that will be smoothed out. We'll have all the meters audited and in the system once Tony and Rob have a chance to get done with the vegetation management. We'll have a little more time to hit the ground on the meters. I mentioned staffing. The city clerk position, as we mentioned before, is vacant since the 5th, so we're scrambling. Actually, people have been really great, patient with us when we're both on. So we're working hard, updating the job description to make sure that what we want that position to be is a fit with what we need with the team. That should be out and posted for at least a part-time, 3/4 time position. We'll see want to leave it open to all of that. But we'll be out next week. I've made some contact with RCC, their school of business, and some other, maybe some less traditional ways of getting the word out for even some short-term help, which may maybe just what we need, actually. It may not need to be a long-term position that we can reevaluate. So that's up and going. Another utility bill related item is access. We recently just finished the DocuSign last week to sign up for a federal program that Access runs for the region for low-income water and sewer bill assistance for qualifying low incomes. That I should have all the information and the outreach material this week, and it coincides really well with our billing challenges, and we can also really focus on connecting up that have bill arrears and make sure that extra funding is available. Listening to kind of the regular and Vincent DePaul and all those programs. This is a dedicated recent federal program, so that's a benefit to the community and to the city. In light of this. This one, I believe this one's a one-time. I think depending upon how quickly the funding goes down, there may be another cycle, but it's not the ongoing. We'll make sure we focus on that when we get the information out to make sure that we did. Yeah, related to staffing again, we're looking at evaluating. I've got a really competitive bid for outsourcing payroll. While it's relatively small number of FTE, payroll is complicated. We've had prior challenges. Those are some of the things we're working to clean up. I think it's really prudent to just outsource that. They know tax changes. They know all those things. They can do the quarterly amounts on our behalf. It doesn't eliminate our workload related to payroll, but it significantly reduces it. I think it's a cost-effective approach. Likewise, we're looking, I think I mentioned it last meeting, website. We're looking at what we utilize for the plan that we serve up information on the internet. We have some competitive third-party bids as well for that, which I think I've used several in the past, which would, while it's, I think the website has served us well and it's been very low cost, I think there are some opportunities and tool sets with some of these civic government focused website systems that at a very competitive price. So I think we can communicate and more quickly communicate, put more information on the website, and also be able to access it staff much more quickly. Again, shout out to Marvin for handling it for so long, and we'll work with him on how we move that forward. Had a meeting today. I meant to think again, another one. I'm probably going to be reoccurring themes. Dee and I had a meeting with our just today, this afternoon, and we're scheduled for completing the prior year, fiscal year 21 audits before we work on fiscal year 22 audits, which are due to start. And really, right now, they are behind significantly. The goal is to finish both of those by March. So we have actual dependable fund balances that we can use in the budget development for the fiscal 24 budget process. That's going to be a significant lift for both of us.
Other than the public input time, we'd ask not to.
So why was the audit?
Step date.
Again, we've had turnover that has led to things that are important not getting done. We all know what we ask for things. It doesn't make.
So a couple little council look ahead. I didn't take all of the prior identification marks off the document that I included, but this is a borrowing from a previous jurisdiction I worked at, where we used we called it the council look ahead. It provides a little advance notice on where things are going to be coming up in council agendas. recurring items we can schedule for. We don't miss them. We don't come in late. It gives council the opportunity to just know where things are. Chance to ask me why. Why is it so soon, or why is it so late? Why, where are these other items? So that template I just wanted to share with you, and I'll start mocking some things up if you're all okay with that. We can give it a go, and if it doesn't seem productive, we can set it aside. But I think I feel like it really helps me make sure I know what you all want in these future meetings as we go, and we're not scrambling. Wouldn't be bad to get your comment. If you think that's a useful thing, I'll, good. Okay, great.
And if we could build this in a flow sheet.
Yeah.
So
Right.
So they understand. We need to hear.
Yeah.
We've asked for reports. We've asked for general reports.
I think that'll help. The last item I want to throw in, water treatment plant site work. Tony and I both wanted to be sure to recognize Rob. He's out there with some silt removal and disbursement that is material buildup. And the way he decided to go after it is a significant cost savings over what we would otherwise have to contract out. So just want to throw out quick props to for his work out there on the site. But I thought maybe a quick check-in on Lantman. That I think that's something I've talked with Council Moore, Lantman Park, about. You might have left, but that is a challenging location. Tony makes the run there, nearly daily, miss it one day a week, but he's there almost every day. We have seen, and I don't disagree with the commentary and of that site. The part that I would like to update is those have been cut multiple times. Right now, it is so dry, even though we're in moderate, it is so dry and so dusty out there. It's plumes and plumes of smoke, or dust, but it is on the list to have one more before we get into the wet season. But the schedule of that is always hard, and transient and garbage and fire potential, I think is real, and we so it's on the based on tonight's conversation.
And I would add on the work site with Rob, with the silt removal and that. Again, we spent a bunch of money last fiscal on some heavy equipment. So that we could do it ourselves instead of outsourcing. When we outsource it, it's not cheap to do it. So I think that's a return on our thinking for on some things that
We had the LOC training. I sent out an email. Just let me know on those trainings. One's in Roseburg and one's in Cape Falls, coming up in a month and a half or so. Some elected official essentials, I think, is the title. I think Council Beachhead's been through that. I think they're really solid. And I sent a few other auxiliary things. So let Dee and I know if you are interested in going up there and checking it out. We can get you registered.
We'll have a new council. And mayor, encourage that, our group that takes you 4 years ago, so that full day training. We've got a couple of counselors, maybe 3 that are brand new. So and I think that nice lunch out. That's not it's a little bit. Let's help ourselves. We know what our expectations are. Well, yeah, that was different. This is a single day offsite training. In good of the order. I'm sorry. I'm having one of those moments. So we just asked if there were any city council reports, no council updates, good of the order, none of that. This meeting is adjourned.